Townhouses are popping up everywhere across Melbourne. You're seeing developers knock down a residential property and build anywhere from 2 to 10 townhouses on a single land allotment. So you have to ask yourself, are these properties good investments? Naturally, people are getting pushed into these kinds of investments because houses themselves are becoming so expensive to purchase. So today I want to talk about the features that make a townhouse great, something that tenants want to rent, something that other buyers want to buy, versus townhouses that are basically designed just to make money for developers. And anyone who buys these kinds of properties end up with a bit of a capital growth lemon on their hands. So a great place to start is just describing what is a townhouse. Townhouses are residential land that have been subdivided and built on. So you can literally chop up a piece of land between two and unlimited amounts of times, depending on the size of the block of land. And then you get a property that gets built on it. It's usually a minimum of 2 levels. They can share their own walls with their neighbors. They can share roof spaces, roofs. They can share driveways as well. And that's generally what makes a townhouse more affordable, the sharing of amenities between the neighbors. A proper townhouse, in my opinion, has a separate property title, which gives you the ability to buy and sell that individual property, regardless of what happens to its neighbors. They have their own water meter and they have their own gas meter. A little FYI to all the buyers out there, make sure your townhouse has its own meters. The best way I look at what makes a desirable townhouse is the people that are actually wanting to buy these kinds of properties. What's their criteria? They actually want to buy a house. The only reason they're going for a townhouse is because the land allotment for a house is so big that it just pushes up the price too much. So think about the features of a house. And if you can put those features into a townhouse without compromising, without making a townhouse more like an apartment, they're the kinds of features that the buyers actually want and make a good quality lifestyle in this kind of property. So for example, a house doesn't have shared walls. A house doesn't have shared driveways. It doesn't have shared roof spaces. It doesn't have shared backyards, front yards. Now, when a townhouse has all these fantastic features to make it just like a house, that normally will give it a larger land allotment, normally around about the 280 to 350 square meter mark. Watch out for developers' cash cows, as I call them. These are townhouses where the land allotment for each allocated property is about 180 square meters. They have a shared driveway and they're literally wall-to-wall properties. Now, in my rental business, we manage a whole bunch of these kinds of small investments where owners have purchased them and given for us to manage. And I've just found they've got issues with tenant turnover. They've got issues with natural light. They've got neighboring noise issues. They have problems with balconies and roofs, with joint maintenance. And let's not forget the body corporate fees that are involved in shared driveways as well. So one of the little tricks that developers use to sell these kinds of properties, these small kinds of properties, fitting it out with really high quality fixtures and fittings. Stone bench tops, beautiful timber floors, higher ceilings. These are all little great features that will make life a little bit more comfortable with a small property. But you have to remember these kinds of features depreciate to zero. What gives a townhouse good capital growth is land allotment. In almost all cases of real estate, the larger the land allotment, the better the capital growth. So just remember these pokey little blocks of land that you're surprised at how a property even fits on there. These are probably the kinds of townhouses that you want to stay clear of. Another point I wanted to raise is townhouses, in my opinion, are reserved for inner city suburbs because the inner city can support or it has the amenities that allows a really good lifestyle where you can compromise and have a small block of land. Maybe you don't need to own a car if you're really close to a really good public school, or if you're really close to the train station or have a lot of tram stops locally. Whereas when you go to the outer suburbs, generally a lot of these kinds of features aren't common or they're quite far away. So you need to have a car. You need to own a bigger piece of land so you can have multiple cars for the people living in your property. So this is where I think townhouses don't work so well and capital growth is questionable. And this is where you see townhouses really become average investments for their owners. So these are some of the general features I will look for when it comes to buying a townhouse. Now, obviously, there's a lot of factors involved in different pockets of an area, where to buy, how to negotiate, how to deal with agents, all these kinds of things when it comes to buying property. And the criteria I've mentioned today is just one aspect of that. So for more information on buying these kinds of real estate, reach out. Feel free to give us a call or visit us at Wise Real Estate Advice.